Mr. Mark, the Back Row Ministry, coming back at you live and direct from the new K5 studio. So, I did a quick piece on this whole Trump Zelensky little monologue. Me and my friends talked about what possibly could have been going on in that room. And, looking at Facebook, a lot of the comments from people on Facebook just really gave me a sense that in an environment where you just taught to hate, and that's the culture that we're in. American culture, we teach each other to hate. We say this is the bad guy, so don't like him. And it doesn't matter what this person is saying or trying to do, the hate outshadows the reality. So, as I said before, Donald Trump has been a superstar, a television star since I was a kid. So I grew up on Donald Trump. Hate it or love it, that's who the guy is. He's always been the same jerk and asshole he's always been. He shows some good sparks. He shows a lot of bad stuff. I didn't vote for him because I don't vote for president, because I don't get caught up in such foolishness. Because you see what happens when people make these presidential choices. Now, they don't vote for Congress or Senate, governor, mayor. They're not invested in that, but they're invested in president. So that pretty much moves their passion. So right now, Trump's in office. People's passions are moved. The "We Hate Trump" campaign, I understand. You like who you like. You don't like who you don't like. But at the same time, you can't let an emotion like hate blind you to the reality of where we are. We're in World War III. Has anybody been following my channel for a while? We've spoken about this. We're preparing for this war. We're in the midst of this war. We're in the negotiation period. We got a couple of years of possible calm before the storm, and it appears that people want to rush into the storm and not even get themselves those moments of calm they're going to need to begin to plan what they're going to do. You already begin to see food rationing. That's what you're seeing at these stores with eggs being taken off the shelf, and certain things like that. We're starting to begin to see the process of food rationing. You got a chance to see that during COVID. They were rationing food. You only can get so much vegetables, and there's always those products that people have survived off of, like eggs and rice. You'll see them start rationing off the rice, rationing off beans, rationing off things that they know people can survive off of. We'll start seeing that down the line. But just watching this whole situation play out continues to bring me back to what I talked about when we talk about these world wars. Why the Democrats are always in office when these world wars begin. They always seem, I'm not saying all the time, but for the most part, when a world war starts, there's always a Democrat in office. So right now we got a Republican in office saying, hey, we don't want to go to world war. We don't want nukes in the air. We know what can we do to kind of squash this. No matter how people want to see it, Russia is still a world power. Russia still has nuclear weapons. Russia can fire these things, and all these Lexuses and K5s and electric cars won't even fucking matter. That's what people, and this is the problem with reality. When we get so caught up in these realities, things will never change, and then they change. You don't want things to change at that level because we're not ready for that. We're not ready for that. Let the power go off the dead, and we had to figure it out. Some of us will survive. A lot of us won't. We're going to anarchy. We'll become slaves to certain people in these communities and environments that do know how to survive. It'll be anarchy. It'll be Mad Max Beyond the Thunderdome. These folks aren't ready for that, but they're pushing it. And what I mean by pushing it, if you go on Facebook, especially in the Black American community, I'm seeing a lot of this. Well, we stand with this. He's talking to this guy like this. It was apparent to me as I looked at these Facebook comments and posts that nobody watched the full interview. So Sabby Sass, she's a content creator. She saw the full interview of how this got to this point, because usually these things just don't get to this point. For the most part, anytime you see diplomats come in, the press is there. they do their little spiel. Hey, yeah, we want to welcome this person, and we're gonna talk about this, this, and this. You don't get this part of the conversation. So this all started when J.D. Vance brought up the need for diplomacy, the need to find a diplomatic solution. Now, J.D. was a little bit too party politics with how he said it, that, Biden and them really weren't looking for a diplomatic solution, and we just want to find a diplomatic solution. That's all that was said. If you watch the full interview, you're going to see that. That's what he said. So you got to watch the full interview, because the media just want the highlights, and that's all they've been pumping, the argument. They don't pump the beginning. My boy always used to say there's a beginning, middle, and the end. We go to the middle and the end, but we don't get to the beginning of how the stuff started. So in the beginning, it all started with a conversation about diplomacy. And J.D. Vance saying, hey, we need a diplomatic way of solving it. Remember, J.D. Vance is a soldier. He's seen the killing. He knows what war can do. So he's not just talking sports out of his ass. And I think he really took it disrespectfully when Zelensky came at him like he ain't never seen killing. He ain't never seen what war can do. So I think that, Zelensky kind of rubbed him the wrong way by taking it there. But that's where Zelensky went with the diplomacy piece, because Zelensky also is full of this hate. And that's the problem over there with these Russian and Ukrainians. These are different tribes. These tribes have been fighting for centuries. And there's so much hate within these tribes at this point. There's been so much killing, so much murder, so much dictating, so much power differentiation, that we've gotten to this point of just hate. And hate spreads. And now the Ukrainians have so much hate that they're starting to spread that hate, because now they want us to hate who they hate. And no, we can't get into that game. First of all, we don't really have any stake in this. This is America here. We don't have any stake in what goes on in Ukraine and Russia. We don't have any stake. And once you get involved in those type of territorial disputes, you're picking a side. Once you pick a side, you pick the side. Trump is not about to pick a side. So a lot of people are saying, well, Trump and Putin, yeah, he's gonna go and try to make peace with Putin, because it's like if you go up in a certain situation. I'm from Chicago, so every block got a strong gang. Every block got a strong gang. You think the mayor of a city don't talk to gang leaders? You think the police chief don't have a conversation with gang leaders? The police chief is going to have a conversation with gang leaders, because it's the gang leader's job to be informed that, hey, you need to keep your boys in check. You need to make sure that you're keeping your boys in check so we can keep the peace. We don't want a shootout in the city. So the mayor or the police chief will go have a conversation with these gang leaders. Hey, this is how the world works. Every leader is pretty much a gang leader. Trump is the new gang leader of America. Zelensky is the gang leader of Ukraine. Putin is the gang leader for Russia, and so on and so on. And King Charles is the gang leader for the UK, not the prime minister. Don't get it twisted. But you have these gang leaders, and from time to time, you want peace. But this gang here, they're the Bloods and the Crips. They just been fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting. And they've been fighting so much that I bet they have forgotten what they've been fighting about. They have forgotten. So for a lot of Americans, I want y'all to remember that we, America, created the Russian problem. There was no Russian problem up until the end of World War II. When we start saying, okay, we're going to split this stuff down the middle, and then Russia can get this. We started this. We started this as a thank you for Russia intervening in World War II and helping us stop the Germans. Do your history. So we created this Cold War with Russia. We created all this stuff. We created communism in the Koreas. We created communism in Vietnam. We brought communism to Cuba. We did this. We created this monster because every story needs bad guys. Every story needs a bad guy. And we can't always create good guy, bad guy. So the Russians became the bad guys. And of course, like any bad guys, they went on their conquest tour, and Ukraine was a victim of that conquest tour. All that got merged into this place they called the Soviet Union for a long period of time until those tribes decided to stand up, and the Soviet Union fell apart, and everybody got their freedom back. So Ukraine and Russia, they've been pitting for a place called Crimea, which is in the middle, for a long period of time, and the Crimeans have just been a conquered people. Read the history of Crimea. Everybody's conquered them. They've never truly been free. They're not Ukrainians, and they damn sure ain't trying to be. But it's always been a fight over Crimea. They just been passing Crimea around like it's a $2 tramp out there in San Francisco. So neither Russia or Ukraine has shown the Crimeans any respect. That's what this battle is about. That's what this battle is really about. But they want us to take a side in this. And that's what Zelensky was having a problem with. Because he don't want diplomacy. That's why he made the statement that started this whole thing. That's what's been going on for weeks, if y'all been paying attention to how these talks have been going. Trump got to talk to Putin because he got to get Putin up off of Zelensky. Hey, listen, man, this shit got to end. What do we need to do so you don't go up in there and totally obliterate them? Because at any time, Russia can totally obliterate these guys. They got more financing and more backing. They can do that. A lot of communist countries out there that's feeding Russian funds right now. So they got the backing to go up in there. Remember, China they'll give Russia backing to defend themselves. These are their communist brothers. So Russia got the manpower, Russia got the weaponry to pretty much finish Ukraine. And the Ukrainians know that. You think Zelensky don't know that he on borrowed time? He know that shit. But he's got so much hate in him. He got so much hate, and this ain't no hate just for Putin. This is hate for Russia. That's been going on for years with this dude. Since he was a child, he's been taught to hate Russia, and he's spreading that to us. What the fuck I hate Russians for? I don't know no goddamn. I know Russians that I've met over time, but I have no vestation in that. I've been taught that Russia is the bad guy by the people who created the Russian boogeyman. And it's sad to see black Americans who drink the Kool-Aid. We are the most Kool-Aid drinking ethnic group in the world. We love different flavors of Kool-Aid, and we just jump, and we never use common fucking sense. So it's one thing to talk about, yeah, this guy this, and he did this. Okay, are you looking at the room? And I'm talking to guys who should know better, who got compasses and squares, and don't seem to use any of the knowledge that they had from that, reading the room where their brothers are in the room. This is why they don't have anything. This is why that set of checkerboard boys have nothing, have never built anything, have no power base. Because they don't read the room. They don't even pay attention to what their own brothers are talking about. They're talking about trying to stop world war. Putin is a checkerboard boy. Trump is a checkerboard boy. Vance is a checkerboard boy. They say, hey man, we got to stop this shit. This shit is going too far. And to have people up here saying, no, I stand with this, and no, he ain't have no right to talk to me. Yes, he did. Because he doesn't have any cards in the game. A lot of y'all ain't never talked to some of these Ukrainian folks over here. Y'all ain't never talked to some of these young men who have lived in the war zone for the past 5-6 years. Longer than that for some of them, because we talk about wars that go back that their family have struggled with. Y'all ain't never talked to guys who have had to leave and run up out of Ukraine so they don't get pulled in the army, because you don't get no choice over there. You gotta go. There are guys who had to buy their way out of Ukraine to save their fucking lives because they don't want to be a part of that foolishness. Y'all ain't never met guys who over there trying to help people and get half their brains blown out. And now they got traumatic brain injuries where they're never going to be able to function. Y'all ain't never met that. Some of y'all been in war zones and seen what war can do. How can you sit there and apply this foolishness? Zelensky was fucking wrong. He does not want a diplomatic solution because he's so full of fucking hate. That's where we are with this young man. That's where his mind state is. And until he gets out of it, he will march your ass into World War III. Because the minute boots hit that ground, it's on and popping. Any scenario where boots hit ground, it's on and popping. If American boots hit that ground, if European boots hit that ground, if NATO boots hit that ground, it's on and pop. What y'all think, the Chinese is going to stand there and chill out? No. This is a World War III situation. It can turn raw and ugly at any minute. And we're not trying to be involved in it. Please pay attention to what's going on. Stop sitting around applauding foolishness. Taking the side of people who are wrong. Who are wrong because America created the Russian boogeyman. World War II, who was in office? The Democratic Party. Once again, the creators of things who seem to get away with their creation. And then now they're sitting around trying to push us into World War III. And everybody's helping them. Because, hey, Trump, and Trump, he's a bad guy. But Zelensky's a good guy? What is good about Zelensky? What's good about Putin? They're both perpetuating continued war. At least Putin is willing to sit down and talk about it. He's willing to squash it. Let it be squashed. Let them have a conversation to squash the situation. But don't sit up in there when you have not paid attention to what was being said and just point fingers. Zelensky was wrong. He started a situation that did not need to start. He does not want diplomacy. And he made that very perfectly clear. So I need everybody to go back to watch the beginning of how this started and what was said that started it. So you can see who the real catalyst behind that whole situation was. Did it get out of hand? Yes. Could it have been done differently? Yes. But it's obvious that Zelensky does not want peace. He wants us to continue funding the killing and murder of young people. He ain't even got enough soldiers. He grabbing who he can to go out there and die. For what? They, like I say, they don't even know what they're fighting for anymore. It's just, I hate you. And Americans drink the Kool-Aid. People who ain't got nothing to do with it. Well, yeah, we got to hate them. Hate them for what? You ain't got nothing to do with that. You can't get nothing up over here for yourself. As I said before, they gave them $150 billion. Black Americans, how much are they giving you? How many of their programs have been sanctioned over this period of time that this $150 billion was going to somebody else? Yet you're always drinking other people's Kool-Aid. I rest my case. Mr. Maki Back Road Ministry. Stop drinking the Kool-Aid, and there's a beginning, middle, and end of every situation. Get your beginning straight before you drink the Kool-Aid of the media and just take the middle and the end. Peace.